Hey guys, Dalek44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. Well, being a Disney fan, it's time to talk about this classic. Once Upon a Studio is a 2023 American live-action animated crossover fantasy comedy short film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios in celebration of the Walt Disney Company's centennial. The short's art style combines computer graphics, traditional animation and live action, and features characters from the majority of the studio's works made up to that point, including all 62 feature films at the time of the short's release, including the then forthcoming Wish. This is also the final work of Richard M. Sherman before he passed away this year. Many of you have been asking for my opinion on Once Upon a Studio, and I'm going to give them to you. Let's take a look at Disney's Once Upon a Studio. On the day the Walt Disney Company in Burbank, California turns 100, employees from the Walt Disney Animation Studios building leave at the end of their workday. Inside the studio, Mickey Mouse, a production cell from Mickey's birthday party in 1942, comes to life and calls Tinkerbell from Peter Pan 1953. Mickey asks her if all the employees are gone, to which she nods. Excited, Mickey and Minnie Mouse jump out of the cell, with Minnie getting many of the characters from the studio's filmography to all meet in the lobby. While everyone is getting prepared, Mickey approaches a photograph of studio co-founder Walt Disney and thanks him in a private, somber moment. All the characters go outside to the lobby to take a group photo for the 100th anniversary with Mickey getting them together. However, Goofy accidentally falls off his ladder, thus causing the camera to break into pieces. Everyone starts to be disappointed as the group photo is apparently cancelled. Just then, Alan Adale from Robin Hood in 1973 plays When You Wish Upon a Star on his lute, joined in by Scat Cat from the Aristocats on his trumpet, and Mirabelle Madrigal from Encanto on her accordion, as Happy Jr. from The Jungle Book makes a trumpet sound. Other characters from Disney's history take turns singing the song's lyrics, before Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio leads the ensemble characters for the song's final line before they pose for the group photo, with Tinkerbell using her wand to map cut to the finished photo. So what do I think of Disney's Once Upon a Studio? I absolutely love it. This short is famous for bringing in as many Disney characters from big screen appearances as they could. So you got characters from the Aristocats, Snow White, the many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Sword in the Stone, Aladdin, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, the list goes on. And the amount of Disney characters that make an appearance in this short is just so bottomless. I mean, you could literally do a huge list of the amount of characters that show up in this movie, and it would probably take up about an hour to get through them all. Most of the characters are all voiced by their current voice actors, including Jeremy Irons as Scar and James Woods as Hades, two of my favourite Disney villains.
I'm surrounded by idiots! I knew this was going to happen.
And characters who didn't have a current voice actor at that point had gotten new actors to play them. Like, for example, we'll get Jim Cummings voicing Baloo the Bear from The Jungle Book. And other characters that appear in the short, like Flower from Bambi and Peter Pan from Peter Pan and Ursula from The Little Mermaid, they all use archive recordings from their previous actors. Another thing that got people talking about this short long before its release was the fact that the late Robin Williams returned to voice the genie from Aladdin. When news about this spread during the production of this short, people were going wild for it. Some loving the fact that they were bringing back Robin Williams' voice for the character the genie, and others being upset that they might use AI to recreate his voice. But it turns out that Robin Williams actually recorded a ton of stuff for Aladdin while it was in production. So Disney were able to use some unused recordings from his recording session. All with his family's permission, of course.
I haven't seen a fall like that since Rome. Oh, much better.
And that's a great way to pay tribute to this great actor and the great character he played. And whatever way you look at it, it was just awesome hearing the late Robin Williams' voice again as the wonderful genie. It's just such a delight to hear his voice again. And it made sense that they used unused recordings from Aladdin's production to bring him back to life, since any other actor probably wouldn't have worked as well as Robin Williams. Even though Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson, voiced him during the animated series and The Return of Jafar, it's a pretty good impression, but nobody could top Robin Williams because the genie was mostly just Robin Williams doing his improv, and no one's as good as him. So this, in my opinion, is a loving tribute to Robin Williams as well as his popular character. Once Upon a Studio combines traditional hand-drawn animation and computer animation and live-action footage. And when you watch this short, you can really tell that the 2D animated characters are actually hand-drawn. And that's a huge improvement compared to the Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers movie that came out a few years ago, with various characters from that movie trying to look like they were hand-drawn, but they were clearly CGI models, and it just didn't blend together that well. It's also a major improvement from Ralph Breaks the Internet, where you see various Disney characters, including the Disney princesses in the CGI world of Wreck-It Ralph. Now, animating them in CGI for this movie doesn't work because they modernized them too much. That's not how Jasmine looks like, that's not how Cinderella looks like, that's not how Snow White looks like. They just looked too modern to be recognizable as the Disney princesses we grew up with. But here Disney didn't make that mistake. Every hand-drawn character was literally hand-drawn, so it feels authentic when you watch it. And it's a really nice touch how they made the 2D animated characters look like how they would have back when their films were released. Like, say the characters from Robin Hood and The Sword in the Stone all look sketchy because that's how they were back in the original films. Just putting all that extra effort into recreating the animation style that they would have had back when they were first created and brought to the big screens. There's just so much effort that went into this short. A number of people go so far as to say that this celebration of Disney's 100th birthday is a lot better than the official movie Wish. Even though it's only a 7-minute short, this film really reminds me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where you have 2D animated characters interacting with the live actors. Except here you have them interacting with CG animated characters. And this, in my opinion, is how a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel should look like if they were ever interested in doing it. Not saying that I want them to do it, because I don't think you can make a sequel as good as the original. But if they were to do it, this is exactly how I'd want to see it. This to me is also a great tribute to the old Disney show House of Mouse, where you see Mickey Mouse and his friends host in a nightclub where all the Disney characters from various films from that point get together for an evening of meals and cartoons. This short's just a really great reminder of what made House of Mouse so great, bringing together all the various animated Disney characters into one show. Not only is this short a great tribute to 100 years of Walt Disney magic, but it's also a fun tribute to House of Mouse, whether it was intentional or not. One of my favourite moments from this special is the moment where Mickey Mouse looks at a portrait of Walt Disney, his creator and original voice actor.
Gotta go. But thanks. On with the show.
This has to be the most wholesome scene in the entire short. Even though it only lasts 20 seconds, it's really heartwarming seeing Mickey and Walt Disney interact with each other, even if it is just a picture on the wall. That moment is just such a real treat for any Disney fan, since it was the first time that Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney shared a moment on screen from the five we were providing. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong, but this is the first time in recorded history that Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse ever shared the screen together. I mean, we're used to seeing statues of the two together at Walt Disney theme parks, but I don't think we've ever seen them together in an actual film. I don't know if this is because Walt Disney didn't want to show up on the screen with Mickey, or if they just never thought about it back then, but it's amazing that this was the first time the two had actually appeared on screen together. It's just a phenomenal moment in a chaotic short, and it makes for a nice quick breather from all the chaos that is ensuing with all the characters. The song Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins is heard, which was chosen due to being Disney's favourite song. And they even got the song's co-writer Richard M. Sherman to perform a new rendition of the song. And as I said earlier, this was his final work with Disney before he passed away early this year. Definitely one of the best moments in the entire short. And many people have probably said this already, but I find it very fitting that they wrapped up this short with When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio. Which really does make sense since it's Disney's trademark song, as they use it in the logos. So it makes a lot of sense for all the characters we know and love to sing it at the end. The short had its world premiere at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival during the opening day celebration on the 11th of June 2023. It also screened for attendees at the Walt Disney Studios panel at Destination D23 on September the 10th. There was even talk of pairing it with the theatrical release of Wish, but Disney decided to release it in more accessible formats. However, it was theatrically released alongside Wish in Japan, and the short itself is currently available to watch on YouTube. It was also released on digital formats early this year, which included a Blu-ray and Ultra HD Blu-ray releases of Wish. The short received positive reviews from critics, who called it an emotional and nostalgic experience, and many Disney fans and animation fans go nuts for it. They absolutely adore this short. And having watched it myself on numerous occasions, I absolutely adore it too. This in a way recreates the magic of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where we get to see our favourite animated characters from Walt Disney come together in a little short. This short is a very well written love letter to everyone's childhoods, for those who grew up with the classic Disney films and those growing up watching the current Disney films. There's something for everyone in this short. In my opinion, Disney's Once Upon a Studio is a fantastic tribute to 100 years of this amazing animation company. Once Upon a Studio is a great contribution to 100 years of Walt Disney magic. It's a fun short of as many Disney characters that could fit in as possible, it's a well written love letter to the Disney company and their fans, and it's just an all around great watch. And if you haven't watched this short, I'd highly recommend checking it out. You won't be disappointed with the Disney magic it provides. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time, folks. What also makes this short so damn good is the fact that it's a brilliant hybrid of 2D animation and CD animation. CD? I meant 3D. Take two.
I haven't seen a fall like that since Rome.